Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Vivian, and on this channel we talk about spirituality. Now, on my last video, I mentioned that I would start sharing information about channeling the heart. And so I started to channel the heart about 2 months ago, mid-November. But the work of healing the heart, expanding it, and working with the different aspects of myself started in 2023. So it's been about 3 years that I've been working with the heart chakra and communicating with it. If you're someone who finds the topic of self-love or even the heart to be cheesy, you find it cheesy or cliche, and you're more into topics about galactic beings and channeling messages from multidimensional beings in that way, trust me, I get it. I thought self-love, that topic, and unconditional and the heart in general was just too cheesy. I thought I was too good for it. I only wanted to connect it with galactic beings, dragons, and all of those beings, way more than I wanted to connect with the heart, way more than I wanted to connect with my higher self. But what I found was that this was my path, that I was to learn about the heart, to open it, because right now is a crucial time for humanity, because actually humanity's heart is starting to open and is starting to expand into a new frequency. And so working with our hearts and understanding it, allowing it to guide us is more important now more than ever. So again, if you're somebody who finds the topic of the heart to be kind of cheesy, I invite you to just be open and see the information, hear about the information that comes through, and you'll realize that it's not very cheesy. It's actually very interesting. All right, so I do have my journal here, which I use to write down all of my channelings that I do. And it's about 2 months worth of channeling, but I'm just going to summarize them and just talk about like the specific ones that are very interesting that I didn't know about. Now, at first, when I started connecting with the heart, it kind of gave me like surface level information, like more lighthearted, more fun, and actually stuff that I kind of intuitively knew already, such as the heart wants us to play. It wants us to feel free. It wants us to have fun. It wants us to feel lighthearted and not take things too seriously. And it's almost like this energy of an inner child that comes out. It contains energy of magic, of fairy dust, and just this playfulness and lightness that comes with it. And it tends to just guide us back to feeling more free, doing things and expressing ourselves in ways that brings us a lot of freedom, a lot of joy, and a lot of play. What it really wants for us is for us to truly express ourselves authentically, to be our true selves, and to soar as high as you can, regardless of who comes with you. In fact, there may not be many people that goes with you on your path, and you meet people along the way and then they kind of fade out of your reality, and they may stay for a season, they may stay for a while, we're not sure, but your heart will always be with you and it'll always be by your side. Your heart will always guide you to your highest path, and through that highest path, you're going to come up against personal fears and doubts. And within those fears, within that darkness and density, that's where you begin to reclaim more of your power when you overcome it. So to illustrate this, for example, if you're somebody who struggles with stage fright or public speaking, your heart may guide you into doing those things, because if you can imagine, every time you think about public speaking or being on stage and you have that fear, like it drains your energy, it depletes you, and it makes you feel really small. But when we overcome that, there's a level of confidence that comes with it. And more specifically, there's a level of freedom that you embody, knowing that you can public speak, that you are confident, and you feel powerful. And so even though on your path, it may feel kind of scary or you're unsure and uncertain at times, you're going to be confronting those limitations and the fears that you have so that you can embody more freedom and a higher level of yourself. I'm going to be using the words heart chakra, or fourth chakra interchangeably so that I'm not repeating, it doesn't sound like I'm repeating myself so much. But what I find is that when I connect with the heart, it often tells me we are one, that we are our heart and our heart is us. And I'll discuss a little bit later on what this means and why it keeps saying that. And then it will continue to talk about how the heart chakra is our guidance. It is our compass. And what I was shown during the channeling was that when we begin to connect deeper and deeper with our hearts, we're actually getting in touch with our true selves. And when we begin to connect deeper with our true self, we start to speak, we start to express from this place. And so there's a connection that forms from your heart chakra to your throat chakra. That way, whatever you speak, whatever you say, whatever you're expressing and doing and creating is actually coming from the heart itself. I didn't even know that that was how it worked, was that the more we connect with our true selves and through our heart is when we begin to start expressing and creating as our true selves. And I just found that to be really beautiful. And here's where the work really begins with the heart chakra, which is the more you begin to connect with your heart, the more you're gonna meet aspects of yourself. All right, these aspects are gonna have different fears, different doubts, and there's some kind of misalignment that you feel within them. And how we really begin to heal these parts of ourselves, the fragmented parts, the traumatized parts, the shadow aspects of ourselves, is to love them, because the heart says love will set them free. So if we saw a child who was fearful of something, we would comfort them, we would support them through that, we would be there for them and let them know that it's okay. And that's what you would do to the shadow or lower aspects of yourself, is to really just be there for them, to witness them and to listen to what they have to express and say, because they might have never really gotten to say or express what they really felt. And naturally, when you allow these energies to be witnessed, they're able to kind of move through you a lot quicker than suppressing them and not allowing them to speak, or having shame that you have these fears. And if you find yourself judging yourself, you find yourself feeling shameful that you have these fears, then again, it's an opportunity to practice this love for that part of yourself. You're going to find many, many parts of yourself. And at first, or at the beginning, throughout the journey, it may feel kind of tedious. It may feel like a long process. But the more that you show up for yourself, the more that you're supporting yourself, supporting your heart to feel safe, your heart will begin to open up and reveal information to you. And the really cool thing about working and healing these different parts of ourselves is that you begin to free yourself from the mental constructs, programmings, and conditionings that you've unintentionally, unconsciously, or consciously adopted. Let's just say, for example, you have this program that you're unworthy and that you don't deserve anything. What I was shown is that the mental constructs or beliefs, they're like little technology programs that get embodied into our energy field. They're actually like technology. And each belief system, each mental constructs that we have about ourselves, about our reality and other people, they're all different microchips type of technology that is within our field. And so when we begin to work with the different aspects of ourselves that believe in these mental constructs, we begin to dislodge them. We begin to free up space within our field. And this is how you begin to free yourself. So then after talking about this deep work, the heart diverges its attention to play, being outside, being in nature, connecting with the trees, the plants, the animals, because they bring this lightheartedness to the times that we're going through healing. And it also brings out our inner child, inviting them out to play and letting them know that even though we're doing these serious type of work, our inner child can still have fun. And what I saw is that when you begin to free up more space within your energy field, you're going to see more multidimensional aspects of yourself starting to emerge. You may or may not be aware of this, but this is happening. Later, as I began to understand and communicate with the heart more, what I really felt was that the heart has this overall broad perspective. And then there's my personality that has its own perspective. And I thought it was so interesting because I could clearly tell that there were two different perspectives, and it almost felt like my heart was like a higher self to my personality. This again, the heart will dive a little bit deeper a little bit later. And as I'm reading my channeling messages that I receive from the heart, it honestly feels like the heart, when you get in touch with your heart, you're going to open up a whole new world. It's like it's a world that you didn't even know existed, and it has been within you all of this time. And you begin to realize that the more time that you give to your heart, it's going to open up different dimensions where you get to go deeper and deeper. And literally, it's like portals and dimensions opening so that you can go deeper into the heart. And it'll continue to let you know that you're constantly always supported by your heart and also by other realms and other beings as well. It talks about the path that you're meant to take. It talks about the map of your life that lies within the heart, and that we do not need to seek answers from our external world, but rather when we start to tune in, when we start to connect with our inner world, that's when we have more clarity. When we're constantly seeking for information, for truth, for answers, externally we'll always be chasing. But like the heart says, it'll always guide you to your highest path. It reminds us how loved we are because the heart is the doorway, the portal to connecting with other dimensional beings. I've heard that people can connect through their 8th chakra, but for me, I find that it's a lot easier and natural to connect with other beings through my heart. And so the heart keeps talking about remembering how loved we are, because through the heart, that's where we communicate with other dimensional beings, our guides, our team of flight. And they're the ones who are supporting us. They're the ones who are loving us and are always there for us. And through communicating with them, you realize that you've always had this team with you, that it wasn't just you in this world by yourself in your own mind. You actually have a whole team of support behind you that you're going to start connecting with and remembering again. Now, the heart is going to guide you to become who you really are. It's going to help you tap into your authenticity. And it might feel uncomfortable because a lot of times we're not used to speaking our mind. We're not used to sharing our perspectives and opinions. But what you will find is that your heart is going to guide you to do that. Just that. To really start to express your true opinions, to express your perspectives, even if you're afraid of rejection. And it says, only then will the inner leader emerge. Only then will change take place. And so by following the path and guidance of our heart, we begin to learn about being self-led. We learn about self-mastery. And we allow the inner master within us to rise. We're not listening to the noises, to the distractions, to the opinions of other people of who we should be or what we should do, but instead we give that to our heart. We give that to the inner master within. Now, they showed me something which they called the heart flame, which is this light that guides you on your path. And all you have to do is follow it. And everything else around you, it's like you're following this flame in the dark. So when you're following it, you're following your path. You're following your mission. So of course, you can consciously or unconsciously fall off the path where your heart flame is guiding you and, fall into the darkness, fall into the distractions, the energies that are pulling you and dragging you and trying to distract you from following that flame. And it's okay if that happens. It's just part of life. It's part of remembering. It's part of learning. But the more that we begin to focus our attention on the heart flame, on that path, the more brighter it's going to grow, the easier it is for you to see it and follow it and know the way. And by following this heart flame, your higher self begins to emerge. And what does it mean when the heart flame within our heart begins to expand and grow? It means that our higher selves begin to reveal more of itself. It begins to give you more of its guidance, and you're able to tap into it a lot more easily and quickly. And they mentioned that even when you're following the heart flame, the journey is not always going to be smooth. It's not always going to be easy. And so when you find yourself in the energy of chaos, of uncertainty, all you have to do is come back to the stillness of the heart. So there's going to come a time when you've done a lot of the healing work, when you've done a lot of the inner work, there's going to come a time when you feel ready to lead, right? Lead with love. And it's not necessarily leading other people. You start by leading yourself with love. You become an example for others to see what that looks like. That's actually how you affect other people. It's not telling people what to do, but by be an example of what that is. So again, I just kind of want to put emphasis on when we do all of that healing work, we free up a lot of our energy. And through that, more guidance, more of our higher self is going to emerge. And because we don't have all of those density kind of holding us and dragging us down, you're going to embody a lot more freedom. You're going to feel a lot lighter. You're going to feel more free. And so you're able to lead with love instead of fear. And so when you're leading with love, even when you come up against challenges, what you will find is that there's inner wisdom that comes up, it surfaces, and it guides you through the challenge to make it a lot easier for you. So not that challenges and hard times are going to disappear, but you're just going to be able to navigate it and have a different perspective, right? These ancient wisdoms will surface for you and they will support you. And you can also share that with people in your lives as well to help them through whatever they're moving through. And then they went on to mention that these ancient wisdoms could cause an uproar. There may be disagreements. There may be, there's just energy that I'm feeling of rebellion that can come up when you start to share ancient wisdoms that you feel may be helpful. And the heart says to just keep an open heart and be grounded in what you know, right? You're here to set an example, not to force. And when we're moving through this process of connecting with the heart and getting to know it on a deeper level, what you're going to experience is mind, heart, body coherence. These different bodies start to align and become one. They start to overlap each other versus maybe one being over here, another one over here, and they're not aligned. And so you will begin to feel a level of coherence that starts to happen. Your different bodies begin to merge into one. It's so interesting that as I'm reading these channelings so that I can share them with you, more information is just starting to reveal itself and the dots are starting to connect more and more for me. And so the next time I channeled the heart, they started explaining what it really means to be in coherence with mind, body, and heart. This is when you start to act from the heart, when you start to think from the heart, and when you start to speak from the heart. And that's what it means when they say the mind, body, and heart begins to merge into one. Is when all bodies are coherent, and that's when you really start to embody that higher self that's from within your heart. Now, the next channeling was really special because, in the spiritual community, we always hear things like, oh, we are all one, and that we are emanations of Source or the Creator, and we're just different God sparks. But what I got to experience was that I was just an emanation of this love, and that there's a whole force field of it, and I was one spark, and I got to experience all of that. And there's just the stream of infinite love that is constantly moving and flowing. And the more we connect with the heart, the more we're able to access this flow of love. And when we access it, we're also able to tap into more information. And they gave me the analogy of just like a child, when we first get to know it, all of its pains, all of the stuff that it went through, they may only share surface level at first. But once they feel nurtured, they feel safe. They begin to open up and they begin to show their true personality. They begin to reveal their true selves to you. And that's the same process that the heart goes through. And the key to opening up the heart is through love. They mentioned that love is everywhere. It's all around us. It's within us. It's everywhere. We just have to notice it. We have to just become aware of it. And set your intention on receiving and experiencing love. Again, the heart reminds us that it's always showing us our highest path. And you have the choice to walk this path of grace and be an example for other people. It's an invitation for other people to walk their highest path as well with grace. It's not going to be an easy, smooth, or perfect path, but what it is it's going to be expansive for each person. It revealed that the heart is actually the key to our evolution. Again, it talks about how when we give it time, attention, we listen to it, and we're able to give it what it needs, it will begin to reveal information for us that we're able to share with one another to help each person grow from these wisdoms. The fourth chakra wants us to know that each person is important. How we act, treat, or do unto others, we actually do to ourselves because we are actually all one. And when we realize that, we begin to act from a place of love. We begin to share from a place of love. Our heart frequency begin to shift and expand, and this will shift the frequency on earth as well. When our heart frequency begins to expand, our hearts and body are also able to hold higher frequencies that come in. When this happens, it's going to shift the frequency of the earth, and it's also going to shift the trajectory or timeline of humanity as well. Then it went into talking about receiving, saying affirmations such as, I am open to receiving that which is for my highest good. I am open to receiving love, abundance, prosperity. I am love. I am deserving. And it showed me that nature is receiving all of the time, and we are part of nature. And so we are allowed and able to just receive all the time as well. The fourth chakra says that we are the earth and the earth is us, and that we are all one, connected to one another. Then it got interesting, and it kind of started talking about how sexual energy was really important for evolution or ascension, but it didn't really go too much into how, and I just assumed that information will come a little bit later. Now, after the heart started to reveal all of these information to me, and it kind of set the foundation of where we were going and how to work with the heart, it started to reveal more interesting information. And it started to talk about how when humanity reaches a certain point in their heart frequency, there will be a grid that gets activated that connects all of humanity's hearts to one another. And this is all over the world. And so if you can imagine everybody's heart connecting to one another, forming this powerful grid, this love that we have is going to start to distribute to different pockets of darkness or shadow on earth. So wherever there's a lack of love or there's not a lot of love, our heart frequency throughout the collective, throughout humanity, will begin to go there and heal and send love and light into these areas and to these beings and people that are in there. And it also mentions that there are multi-dimensional beings who are ready to support us, and they're just waiting for us to become aware and communicate with them. They're ready to support us with this mission. And they went on to say that the heart is a compass for humanity. And sitting with our hearts, hearing and feeling what it has to express is a daily practice to heal, to release, and to expand this heart chakra. That's really, really important. And so again, it mentions that each person is very, very important. And when we do this for ourselves, we not only heal ourselves, but we also heal the collective and what's around us unintentionally. The next thing I learned is that, of course, we know by now that the heart is the portal and that we can communicate with other dimensional beings through that. What I didn't realize was that there was this higher aspect of the heart, and then there's the lower aspect of the heart. And so the heart mentions that it's really important to work with it and cleanse it every day because distortions can happen there. And what was really interesting is that I was shown that the heart also has its own thoughts as well. It can have negative and positive thoughts, and just like us, the heart is also evolving. Now, I feel like the heart was trying to teach me about the emotional body and the mental body, because it started to talk about how our thoughts and emotions are creating our reality. And this may trigger some people, but the heart says that we always have a choice to either lean into love or continue to lean to suffering or the victim mentality. And it says that there is no wrong, there's only compassion, understanding, and continuous guidance to help support us. Then, to my surprise, after getting to know the heart for a couple weeks, there was a collective of beings called the Heart Masters who came into my field and started communicating with me. And they said they were going to start sharing information and teaching me. Now, who exactly are the Heart Masters? Well, they said that they're masters at opening hearts and helping us to shift our frequency to a new level. And then again, the heart wanted to remind us that our reality is created by our imagination, literally. Have you ever just thought of somebody and they called you? Or have you ever craved some type of food and somebody bought it for you, right? Our imagination is creating our reality all of the time. Most of us are unconscious of how powerful our thoughts and emotions really are. We think, oh, it's a coincidence that happens. No, it's creation that happened. Now, there was another collective that came through. They called themselves the Heart Collective. So at this point, there were two collectives that were here. The Heart Collective focuses on releasing and clearing the heart chakra, and then the Heart Masters focuses on expanding it to a new frequency. And what they want to share is that it's important for us to be open to receiving and giving love. Now for this next part, I'm just going to read a little bit of the notes that I took after the channeling. The heart was talking about how we've reached a certain time and energy level where our inner masters are awakening to support us in our remembrance with our work, our service to Gaia, Mother Earth, and within our lives as well. Ancient ones are awakening, ancient memories are surfacing. Humanity has been suppressed and tampered with, which I thought was interesting because I didn't know they were gonna kind of tap into the history of humanity. There's much to forgive. It's time humanity remembers that we choose how to live our lives. Time to reclaim our sovereignty, power, and love. For love is what we are, and that is what heals all. Humanity's hearts breaking open. We are beginning to feel everything that has been within, and through feeling is how we experience aliveness. Now, I thought that was really, really powerful, and it was just very touching because, wow, they literally said it spot on. When we start to feel is when we actually start to feel alive. Now, throughout this whole process, connecting with the heart and it opening me up to other dimensions. At this point, there were different beings, multidimensional beings, who were starting to come into my field and communicating with me, teaching me, and just giving me messages. So this can definitely happen for you too. Just be aware of that. I want to share some of my notes after a channeling that I did from the Heart Collective. The heart is like a machine. It's a technology. It gathers, processes, and shares information. The more it expands, the more it can hold. So through the different experiences, the heart's perspectives begins to grow bigger and bigger, and it can hold more. The heart is a powerful force. Measurements of it is not exactly accurate. They were saying that the measurements that people have given to the heart chakra isn't that accurate. Its electromagnetic field extends beyond the earth. It encompasses everything. Everything is actually within the heart. And we start working with the heart by blessing it with love. You can bless your heart with any energy, honestly. You can bless it with unconditional love, with abundance, health and vitality, joy, safety and security, and whatever you feel like you need in that moment. And your heart will communicate with you with what it needs. Sometimes it's just love. Sometimes it's reassurance. Sometimes it's safety. Sometimes it's acceptance. And by blessing it with these energies and giving to it, it begins to heal and open up. Now, when your heart is open and it shifts into a new frequency, your whole being shifts into a new frequency. You begin to remember and have dreams about past lives, about different connections that you have, such as connections with specific ascended masters, right? I've met Yeshua. I've come into contact with Mother Mary, with Joseph. And there were dreams and just remembrances of my connection with them. And it's so funny because in this life, I was so against religion. I was so against Christianity. I was against anything that had to do with the Bible or what normal people call God, right? And so if you're against a specific religion or whatever it is, I'm curious to know if you actually have a deep connection with them and that the information that you've learned in this life has been distorted to make you feel like there's some type of misalignment and that you're repelled, you feel repelled from that. But what actually can happen is that when you start to remember these connections and you start to connect with these beings, you actually get in touch with their true essence. So you begin to see the distortions actually and realize that it's not the truth of who they are. The truth of who they are is that they are love. And this connection with them begins to form again. What's really cool is that when you start doing the work of the heart, you're not doing it alone. And you may or may not be conscious of what's happening energetically, but this type of thing can happen, which I'm about to tell you. My experience was that my heart went through a healing and expansion. My heart was surrounded by a technology that opened my heart, and then there were electrical circuits that were disconnected. They began to reconnect again. Different parts of my heart started lighting up, and it felt like a powerful process. My energy began to feel more stabilized and steady. And there will be more energy that my heart can hold, receive, and also radiate out into the world. So healings and expansions in the energetic realm is very, very possible, and is most likely going to happen as you begin to work more with it. The Heart Collective says that many will be going through challenging times. And if you feel the call to do the work of the heart, this is being a light worker. This is what it means when you start to radiate your light and your love. This will help other people because not only will they experience the love from you, but they also see the love that is within themselves. And then it continues to grow and expand. And at this point, I was just documenting my meetings with these different multidimensional beings and this galactic spaceship that came through into my field. And it was so interesting because it was like this one big spaceship, and then like they were connecting like smaller ones, and they all had like different roles they were doing. And what you'll find is that these beings, when your energy begins to resonate with them and they with yours, they're going to start coming into your field and start teaching you and start sharing information with you. I'm not going to share the information that galactic beings have shared with me in this video because it's about the heart. And so the last message that I received from the heart is that we chose to come here in this exact moment, time, and space. For many of us, we saw the pains, the suffering, and the challenges that humanity is going through. And our soul couldn't ignore that. And so our hearts came here to spread this love and light. And then I had a vision that everyone's heart carries a different frequency. And that when it's fully activated and we're living in our authenticity and our truth, this unique frequency to each person is activating and healing for all. And then I was given this analogy where if you can imagine a dry plant in the desert, in the hot heat, and then there comes the splash of water that rejuvenates it, that cools it off, that activates it so much. This is what our unique heart frequency can do for one another. We all have different codes, we all have different energies and frequencies, and we activate one another. And I thought that was so interesting to see. Now, of course, there's still so much more to learn about the heart, but these are just some of the channelings that I wanted to share with you today. I hope this was interesting, and I really hope this was helpful. If you feel called to doing the work of the heart, I invite you to do so. Every day, just sit with your heart and just let it speak and express, send it love, and just sit with it in stillness and see what comes up for you. This is not just a 1 or 2 time practice. It's not just once a week or once every month. It's consistent practice of doing this with your heart as often as you can. And when you begin to, you will realize that it starts to share with you really important and powerful information. If you've enjoyed the channelings from the heart, please like and subscribe, and I would love to know your thoughts in the comments. I'll see you in the next video.